Now, I was wondering, I didn't know if I needed it, but I had a little slide deck, so I wasn't sure. I know you guys said you had some stuff, so I wasn't sure if it was needed, but I have it just in case if you feel it's important in some way.
Yeah, I can make you the presenter, so you can present. What we'll do is we'll start with what we have gotten, and then in case you want to add something on top of it, I'll make you the presenter and you show your screen. Is that okay?
Okay. Yeah, so it's just share the webcam, is that right? Or share,
I'll make you
I'm
the
just trying to
presenter.
think.
So there's a screen icon right at the top.
Yeah.
So once I'll make
Oh,
you the
yeah.
presenter, it will be clickable and you can start sharing your screen.
I see what you're saying. Okay. I think I see what you're saying. Okay.
Sure.
Is anybody else on yet, or is it just us?
Uh, I see one attendee here already, though the name is not appearing. So,
Attendee three.
yep.
Hello, attendee three. I
Oh,
guess he or she doesn't want to talk.
oh,
Oh,
is
here it is, Ed.
yeah, Ed. Hello, Ed. Welcome on the webinar. Thanks for joining in.
Hi guys. It's all right. Good to meet you, Ben.
How are you, Ed?
I'm well, thank you. Yourself?
I'm good, thank you. Nice
Good
to
stuff.
nice to meet you.
Yeah.
So, Dr. Jack, just to give you a brief, Ed belongs to GEMS Founders, one of the schools that we are in touch with.
Yeah, are you Ed? Are you part of the overall umbrella, all GEM schools, or just in the
So, so
Emirates?
no, so I'm just it's just one school in Dubai. It's Gem's Founders School. It's called, and I'm the head of the Year 9 cohort there. At the moment, we've only got to Year 9. Well, next year we'll be expanding to Year 10, then the following year, Year 11. And we've just been in touch. We just thought it'd be an interesting program to see what is to offer to our Year 9 pupils.
Sure.
I believe we've got a meeting on Wednesday when it'll be myself and Mr. Ian just to discuss to see what else, see how it aligns to with our pupils. But I was just interested to see what was going on this, so I thought I'd put myself on and have a listen.
Sure. It sounds great. Thank you. Thank you for doing it.
Hey, Ramnik.
Morning, Professor. Hey, Mayank, and hi, Ed. Welcome. My name is Ramnik. I'm based out of Dubai. Um, uh, are you also based out of the UAE?
Yeah. I'm in Dubai at the moment. One of the GEM schools, GEM's Founders School. So yeah, that's where I'm at the moment. I was just saying to the guys, I'm just the head of Year 9 at the moment. That's the cohort that we have that would be suitable for the program. So I'm just listening to see what's going on, really, just to kind of gauge it a little bit better.
Okay, super. Well, welcome. We're happy that you could join us. We have a couple of folks that are yet to join, so we'll give them a couple of minutes and then we'll get started.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Sounds good.
Ramnik, how are you?
I'm good, sir. How are you?
I'm good. I'm looking at the little flyer here with looking at me, looking at you, looking at me, looking at me.
Yeah, that's actually the first flyer we had actually sent out, and then we also sort of put that on all our social media feeds and everything. So yeah, I thought it'll be good to just sort of start with that and just talk a, a brief, just give a brief about the whole program, and then kind of just have you elaborate more on the program. And what I've also got is a PowerPoint that one of our students had actually prepared last year, and just sort of show that towards the end as what the outcome of one of those courses was, and just sort of not really go through slide by slide, but just sort of talk about it in general. So that was the whole idea.
Okay. Yep.
I'm just sending out a reminder to everybody on the who had RSVP'd. I know there's actually 4 or 5 different families that wanted to sort of join in. So I'm just going to sort of send them a quick reminder again.
Absolutely.
So how was your Sunday morning?
Are you talking to me? Yeah, I guess I'm the only one in the morning though. Yeah, it's been fine. You know, I got up around 4, and actually, you guys made me do some work because I said, well, I'm up and I have to think, so I might as well do some work. So I did some work. So it'll make my day easier tomorrow. So thank you for that.
Just a quick question, guys. How suitable is it for the year 9? Is it suitable for them, or do they need to be a bit older, or do you know what I mean? Is it, if they are in year 9, is it going to be pitched too high towards them?
Yeah, no, it's a good question, and I was going to address it just for you, even if especially if you're the only one. So,
Yes.
We've taught this class in, a lot of different methods, if you will. But I have to say that it's probably some of our best outcomes have come from 9th graders. It's kind of interesting. So I think, that there are maybe some skill sets that they might not have as developed as, say, an 11th grader, maybe. But they tend to really excel at, they love the kind of the product design portion of it. They like the math part, like learning the basic finance, and they're really good. Usually they spend more time on it than even some of the, some of the older students. So yeah, I've had, we actually we've had maybe, I don't know, a half a dozen 9th graders go ahead and launch their actual startup or product, whether it was like in the App Store or we had one student in New Delhi that started a science club for middle schoolers, and he became the youngest taxpayer in India.
Yeah, so doing quite well for himself. Yeah.
Yeah, so that was kind of neat, right? So, and he's like in, I don't know, 20 schools now or something. I mean, his organization. So yeah, it's pretty incredible what can be done. So I think that the 9th graders won't have any trouble. No.
Yeah, I get. We're just starting up the GCSEs with the guys we've got, and we were hoping that it's going to give the pupils a bit of a head start on the business, because we're looking to set up do the business GCSE at our school, and we're hoping it's going to give us a bit of the pupils almost a bit of a kickstart on gain a bit more understanding about business, I guess. So that was our main, which I'm sure it does by the sound of things, by what you were saying there.
Yeah, and I think entrepreneurship or venture creation is it's a nice way to be introduced to business topics, because it's more applied in a sense. So you can learn it through taking economics. You can learn in high school and stuff like that. You can certainly learn it, but there's something about kind of starting, working through the process of starting something from scratch, where you really get to sort of build the pieces step by step and really understand the relationships, which so it's almost like a bottom up learning as opposed to a top down in a sense, if that makes sense. So I think it's cool.
No, it does look good. Obviously, at school we're interested in it and just need to find a bit more about it, but it does look really good.
Great.
Okay, I think we have another guest join in. Rodrigo, are you able to hear us? Okay, let me just drop a chat message.
No problem.
So he is not able to hear us. Rodrigo, are you able to hear us now? Okay. Rodrigo, are you able to hear us now? I see two of you, so I'm not sure if you switched or if there's anybody else that joined in. Okay, great. So he can hear us. So what we'll do is that we'll start, and if you have any issues with your audio in the sense your mic, what you could do is you can put the message in the chat box, your question in the chat box, and Professor Jack will be able to address your question. I hope that's okay.
Certainly okay with me.
Yep. Yeah, well, I'm having a sort of private chat with him, so he said it's fine. Okay, we do have about 5 more people that had RSVP'd, but I think what we could do is we could get started, and then Mayank is recording this session, so we could share it with everybody once they log in. Of course, today being the first working day, and we've invited a fair number of parents, so they're probably either on their way back from work or still at work, and sort of just delayed. So if it's okay, Professor, we'll get started, and then, like I said, we'll be recording the session, so we will be sharing all the details with everybody after this.
Okay, sounds good.
Super. So I'll put my video on just so that I can say hi to everybody, and then of course I'll sort of I'll switch it off so that it doesn't sort of hog everybody's bandwidth. So hi everyone, my name is Ramnik. I am a part of the Columbia Business School initiative. We and me and my team are launching the entrepreneurship program here in the UAE, and we are thrilled to get a very positive response over the last 25 odd days that we've sort of started talking to schools and everything. Today we have Professor Jack McGrourty, who is based out of New York. He is a professor at the Columbia Business School, and we're going to have him talk a little about the program today. But I just want to give a brief about what the program is. We've been working on this program with a number of schools across the region, especially in Asia, in India specifically, in Singapore, Hong Kong, Malaysia. And earlier this year, we had launched the program in the UAE. Having said that, the program actually has been taught in the UAE a couple of years before as well. But looking at the sort of changing environment, the guidelines from the Ministry of Education, especially KHDA, MOE, and ADEC, we wanted to tweak the program a bit so that it would be more flexible for schools and students in this region, and we'd be able to sort of have a much more wider reach. So what we've done is to create a more sort of custom program for this region, a 10-week online program that is going to be taught by Professor Jack. It is going to be 10 live sessions, and then along with that, of course, there are going to be exercises, projects that the students will have to sort of take care of. All the sessions are going to be taught after school. What we've done is, at the moment, we've kept Wednesdays between 4:30 p.m. and 5:30 p.m. Dubai Standard Time, where the classes are going to be held. They are going to be recorded sessions as well. We will have the students work off of a learning management system. So what we've done is we've got all those sort of bells and whistles in place in case any student's not able to attend any of the classes for any reason. Maybe he's not well, or there's any other commitment that they have. They can always go back to the recordings and sort of refer to them. So that's sort of a basis of what we have on the program. Professor Jack, if you want to just sort of dive in and give more details, that will be great. Otherwise, I just keep sort of going on and on and on.
Sure. Well, nice to meet you, Rodrigo, and Ed again. So we've been, maybe I'll give you just a slight history. We started teaching this program at the high school level. It's been 6 years now. So I actually have, Columbia has a pretty robust summer high school program, and I started teaching in that about 14 years ago. In the beginning, I taught an engineering design class, but 6 years ago, I moved over to the business school and was able to start teaching basically this course to high school students. And this summer was the fifth or sixth year that we've done it. In fact, we did 3 sessions, so it was very, very popular actually. And we've also been, as Remnick mentioned, we've also done this across about 18 different countries, including the Emirates. And the class itself is, as I was mentioning to Ed a little bit ago, it's a great sort of intro and or different way of building the student knowledge around business, because it's truly a very, we do this in a very applied way where students choose a project either as an individual or if they want to work with, a couple of peers to create a, potential new venture for that they can continue to work on beyond the class. The class is structured that way so that they have the opportunity to build off what they've learned past the class. And we can talk about how I've seen some of that happen, both either encouraged or enabled by the schools themselves and or parental support sometimes. But basically, they're learning the skills that you really need to create something new. And I think you have it maybe, you have just a little, on the screen itself, you see something called course modules. But basically, we walk them through this sequence of 10 modules, starting with, here they are, thank you. Starting with, sort of the focus around the identification of the opportunity that they're interested in. So that's when they sort of not only take an idea that they're interested in, but we help them to pre-screen it to make sure that it's actually feasible. That's the main criteria for us. Is it something that they can do? Like if you're a ninth grader, is this something you can do? Can you move it forward after the class? If you're a 12th grader, is it something that you can take with you and work on while you're in college? Those kinds of sort of pre-screens. And then from there, we move into each aspect. We teach them how to build a business model using kind of current theory, if you will. It's called we use the lean kind of what's called the lean startup methodology. It's the same as we use in the MBA program, quite frankly. And then from there we move into working with customers. How to learn about how the customer views things, how to do market research. We move into product design, product testing, which they do as part of their class, homework, if you will, and then into marketing and branding, all the relevant financial stuff, and some team and organizational management or leadership issues, and then how to present all this to investors or investor type interested parties, if you will. So let me just stop there. But that's we have Ed was asking before about how ninth graders can do with the materials. One of the things that we have is in the learning management system, not only do we have good sort of course descriptions for each lesson, written out, but we also have little short videos that complement what happens in the classroom. So they can, after they've finished up their classwork, or maybe sometimes in preparation for classwork, they have there's the short videos, explains the concepts. In fact, I have actually taught this class in a flipped classroom way with those materials, meaning that even though it was a physical class, they did all the readings and watched all the videos for homework, and then all we did is do the applied work and discussion in the physical classroom. This was, but that I think hopefully indicates the sort of robust nature of the material. So they have a chance to review all this stuff, and then we have 40 plus worksheets that the students use to guide their thinking throughout the process. So each module has X number of worksheets that they can literally use and fill out, and it helps them. It sort of prompts them to think about the things you should be thinking about at that part of the process. So it's even the MBAs use a version of the worksheet. So I mean, everybody actually likes that a lot. So that's how the class is structured, and that's how the learning process works, so to speak. So let me stop there, Remnick, and maybe they want to ask questions, or guide. I can go any direction anybody wants.
I've just got a quick question. Just regarding the material and stuff, obviously, a lot of our pupils, aren't English. They have English as a secondary language. How accessible and how easy will it be for them to interpret the material you offer? Does that make sense? Because one of the concerns of...
I don't think it'll be, it's never been a problem. I've been, we've taught this stuff in all different countries, and even folks that had some, were pretty challenged in English. It seemed between the video and the written word, it seemed to help.
So it's quite visual, and it's...
Yeah, I mean, it won't work if you are, literacy, if you have very poor literacy. No, that won't work, of course. But, I don't think that's what you're saying. So, no, it should be fine. It should be fine.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah. Rodrigo, you have any questions? Oh, what is expected workload for students beyond the online sessions? Okay, so I would say, it's really up to the student, but I would at least think that they should be putting in between 1 and 2 hours a week of homework. I mean, this is a serious class, right? So, but I understand that this is an add-on in the way we're doing it with you guys, but that's would certainly be what we would consider a reasonable amount. Some weeks might be less, some could be slightly more. It's really up to the student, but I think if they and we could talk to the students about it as well, and they can also work with each other. There's a lot of ways to make it acceptable for whatever environment the student's coming from. So. It is not that much, it seems, so it seems to be very compatible with the IB standard workload. Okay. Well, that's good. I'm glad you don't think it's much, but yeah, I mean, it's yeah, I understand what you're saying. Yeah, I don't think any more than that. I really don't. I think and the worksheets really help because it immediately, I mean, think about this. I mean, we've all been there where we've been asked to do something and then we don't get that much guidance. And then, so you spend a lot of time trying to think about how to start. They don't have that problem in this class because, we're telling them, we're giving a structure that says, look, here's the first thing to think about. All right. And they have a place to type it and then they go to the next question. So think about every homework assignment as maybe having, 2 or 3 pages of worksheet questions, and that's with big boxes to fill out. I'm trying to think if there's I don't. It's probably too much work to show a worksheet, but it's very manageable and very straightforward. They're very readable, and again, and we would talk about it in the this class has advantage of being synchronous too, right? So we'll go over assignments before the end of the class so they can ask questions, beforehand. So that should also help.
Yeah, absolutely. I just wanted to add to what Professor Jack was saying. There is a question that Rodrigo has. So Professor Jack, you might want to just address that first, then I can just add.
Let me read it here. So in addition to the knowledge they get, what are the benefits of the certificate? I mean, does it add a credit if they decide, for instance, going to class? Rodrigo, it adds no credit to, Columbia University doesn't do things that way, while most schools would. That said, I will say that, we've had thousands of students take this class, and certainly many of them, write about their experience in the admissions essays. But typically what seems to bring, if anything brings it to sort of, as you said, gives it any sort of additional credibility, it is if they took the class, worked on a project, and then moved it forward, okay, and continued to do something with it, and created something, innovative and new that contributed to society or contributed, in some way. That's a really, really good narrative for to tell a competitive university. And I say that all the time. So it is that, I mean, if they take it seriously and do something with it, that is absolutely, I mean, I can tell you now, I can think of lots of students that have got into either the college or the engineering school, undergraduate, because of, not because they took the class, but certainly they would tell you one of the main factors was because they worked on something that they kept working on, sometimes for 2 years. Like the ninth graders, for example, have a tremendous opportunity to do something significant before they, even apply. But even 11th graders or, early 12th graders can add to their profile, again, if they're doing something, with follow-up. Does that make sense, Rodrigo? You understand what I'm saying? Yeah. Okay.
Thanks, Professor. I just wanted to add, we've done a lot of interviews of students after the course, and then we do a sort of follow-up within 6 months to a year with a few students who we feel are sort of really focusing on the idea that they had sort of created during the class. And I think it's that ownership of the idea and the fact that they're the homework really is the project that they're working on, which is sort of inception of an idea and how that idea can just sort of move forward from just a thought to sort of a reality of some sort. I think that's what sort of motivates the kids and sort of gets them really excited. And the fact that when it's actually done and when these students are applying for further education, they have something tangible to actually show as to what they've actually done. And the really interested kids who actually take that idea and sort of move it along forward, sort of maybe discuss it, try and create a sort of business out of it, can, like I said, again, have an opportunity of presenting it in a real tangible form. And I think that's really what the value is, where they get this platform where they can use Columbia Business School's sort of expertise, Professor Jack's mentorship, and create these ideas. So I think that's sort of the real value add in this course. And yeah, like I said, it's it's not, of course it's a serious course, so you have to sort of have worksheets, homework, but we're still working on projects, which as you can see on the screen is actually one of the examples that we wanted to show. This was actually an example of a student. I think she was in India, and she had created a business plan for an online store that that she wanted to create. And when the class started, of course, the class started with with her presenting what her idea was, what her thought was. And at the end of the course, she was able to sort of move it forward and sort of create the whole business plan. And as you can see, it talks about segmentation. It talks about what our target audiences are. There's a huge emphasis on, of course, marketing, and more emphasis on digital marketing today. And I actually was in one of the Abu Dhabi schools who have I think 15 kids from their school joining in. The name of the school is Cranley. And the one thing that the students were really excited about was that today they are so digitally involved, they're immersed in their social media. And the fact that this platform would also give them knowledge and understanding of how digital media can actually be used, not just from a social perspective, but how is it actually being used for business. And I think that's something that the students were able to relate to the most. And they get sort of super excited about it, and they can see, they can understand, because everybody all the students have Snapchat accounts, all the students have Instagram accounts, all the students have Facebook accounts, but they necessarily don't know which one, how they can use these social medias to actually promote business. So I think those are sort of just brief points that I have experienced when I'm speaking with students, when I'm sort of trying to talk to them and give them more information on why this course is more useful for them.
Yeah, Rodrigo, I'm not sure you were on when we were talking to Ed, but we've had some, several really good examples of students that went, pretty far with their projects. So we had a young person in New Delhi, for example, who started something that we tend to have in New York, I think, which is, where you create a platform where the restaurants can provide, the leftover food to underserved, the homeless or something like that. And so she created a platform to do this in New Delhi, and she actually took the class when she was in 9th grade, I believe, as well, or maybe she was a rising 10th grader. But before she had graduated, the thing had gotten that large, if you will, and impactful that she actually ended up making a speech at the UN in New York about it. And you could watch it on YouTube, and that YouTube became part of her sort of college admission portfolio. This is serious stuff, right? So this is, we take the students seriously about when they're trying to do something. So if they're trying to create, an online platform for something, I've had kids, create, T-shirt, businesses for charity, for charitable type purposes. We've had, I talked about the science club for middle school, which was also a big deal. We've had people actually start food businesses that ended up being like businesses that would end up creating funding for the school that they went to. So it's sort of an internal food business, if you will. A lot of interesting stuff. The idea is to get them to do something that they can actually do. And then as Remnick says, show that, there's a stickiness to the learning and to the motivation. Anyway, Remnick, that's all I have to say on that. So.
Thanks. We have Serene, who's just joined us as well. So Serene, welcome. We have this session recorded, so we did cover a couple of things before, so we will share the recording with everybody. But yeah, if you have any specific questions for Professor Jack, feel free to sort of jump in.
Hi, Serene. How are you? I don't know if she can hear. I guess she can hear. It says yes, loud and clear.
Yeah, I guess she was able to hear, right?
If you can you give me the screen for a minute?
Yeah, sure.
Sure, Mayank. Yeah.
Yeah. You might have to tell me what to do, or you just do it. No, I have to do something, right?
Mayank's just going to hand over the screen to you, and then you just there you go.
Can you see it? Okay, great. So Serene, maybe this will be a nice way to talk about something that we did, and this is something Ed and Rodrigo we've talked about. So this is a sample worksheet. So Serene, just to give you just a quick briefing, we have the students go through 10 modules over the course of the synchronous sessions, and it's sort of a proprietary sequence that walks them through new venture development, new business development, new product development, that kind of thing. So entrepreneurship in a very applied way. And we have, across these 10 modules, we've created these worksheets. And worksheets are like prompts, like learning prompts, right? So what we do is before the end of the class, we usually go over the assignments for the week. We show them in the online the learning management system that we use, where there's additional information, additional readings, and there's short videos that, for every homework assignment. Actually, there's actually I didn't say this before, but even for the assignments, there's actually short little videos. And so, whatever they, if they miss something in class, they can quickly catch up. And so they go home and they have all this sort of supporting material, and they basically fill out these worksheets as a way to work their way through the new venture development process. And they can actually type, right in here, and their answers, and then we go over them and we provide students with feedback, and then we also bring up examples and have students share their work on their worksheets in class. So we might bring up a couple of examples and have everybody talk about it and provide each other with some peer feedback as well. So it's part of a kind of a feedback loop. So they're getting feedback and interacting around their work, each week. So it's, very structured in a sense, but it's also very, open for innovation, for innovative thinking, if you will. So I don't know if that helps, Serena, or if, I jumped ahead too far for you, but I thought that it's a nice, something we had talked about before that I thought you might find interesting. And Rodrigo and Ed, you see, it's a good example of what we talked about, the worksheets.
Okay, I see Rodrigo and Serena both sort of acknowledging. So thanks for actually presenting that. That was useful. That's it for today's presentation, folks. We are starting our session on October 23rd. We have quite a few kids who've already signed up, and we're excited. In fact, last week, Professor Jack and I and many of the kids, we actually had a sort of intro session, just sort of a meet and greet session where we were all live on a video conference, so we could sort of see each other and just sort of get to know each other. And we're really thrilled. We know that the students are really thrilled, and we've been working, as I said, throughout the year to sort of tweak the program for this region, specifically looking at sort of guidelines and especially sort of the timelines that students have to sort of commit and not sort of taking too much out of their regular school sessions. So we will be sharing the this recording with everyone. It'll be a YouTube link, so you can watch it. You can share it with your peers as well, and we will. Yes, Serene, what I'll do is we'll drop you an email right now with all the information. You'll see on the brochure that there's a website, and then there's an email as well. So we'll send you all the details. You could just go online and fill up a form, or you could just email us, and we can do that for you as well. So we have all the information set up, and I'll share my number as well. I'm based out of Dubai, so if there's any questions that you guys have, you can feel free to sort of call me at any time, and I'll be happy to address your questions and meet you or meet the students as well if required.
Thank you very much for that. I believe I'm still, just on an off note, I'm meeting someone on Wednesday. Is that still meeting going ahead at our school? Do you know?
Yes, I'll be at your school, and I think Mayank is going to join me as well. So yeah, we look forward to meeting you on Wednesday.
Okay, perfect. Thank you very much for your time today. It's been really informative. Thank you.
Right.
Problem. Nice to meet you, Ed.
Yeah, and you take care. Have a good rest of your day.
Yep.
Thanks everyone. Thanks for taking the time out, and we'll speak to you soon.
Bye.
Cheers. Bye.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ramnik and Mayank for setting it up.
Thank you, sir. We'll speak soon.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.